Czech Republic for his address. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Saleumxay Kommasith, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Lao People's Democratic Republic.
Madam President, first of all, I would like to begin by congratulating Ms. Maria Fernanda Garcia on her election as President of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly. It is our great pleasure to see a woman chairing this august body, and I assure you of our full support and cooperation, and wish you every success in discharging your noble duty. Likewise, I wish to extend my congratulations to His Excellency Miroslav Lajcik for his successful completion of his tenure as President of the 72nd session of the United Nations. Madam President, the 2030 Agenda that promises to leave no one behind has encompassed all the prerequisites for us to build a peaceful and prosperous world. In order to meet this lofty goal of 2030 Agenda, the national governments and international communities have to work hand in hand to implement it, and it requires international peace, security, that would create conducive environment for economic growth and social progress while enhancing international cooperation and assistance with priorities given to the most vulnerable groups of countries, namely LDCs and SIDS. To realize the 2030 Agenda and achieve SDGs, the government of the Lao PDR has incorporated the SDG target into its 8th five-year National Socio-Economic Development Plan for 2016-2020, soon after the adoption of Agenda 2030. Given its specific needs, the Lao PDR has gone extra mile by adopting the national SDG 18 entitled Life Saved from Unexploded Ordnance, or UXO, to address the problem caused by UXO. At a high-level political forum held in July this year, the Lao government presented its first voluntary national review on SDG implementation, which saw important progress and emerging constraints over the past years. While positive momentum has been gained on SDG and LDC graduation, the Lao PDR remains vulnerable to external shocks. This year, we are witnessing an increasing intensity of climate change and natural disaster that cause heavy loss and damages to life and property of people in different parts of the world. Like many countries, the Lao PDR is no exception and has been severely affected by natural disaster, especially extensive flooding across the country. This is the worst natural disaster ever occurred in the history of our country. To date, 2,409 out of 8,464 villages in 115 out of 148 districts have been affected by massive floods. The exact cause of the loss and damage are yet to be known, as post-disaster needs assessment will be conducted in the very coming months. This calamity has severely caused major impact on the livelihood of the people in the affected area. Currently, the Lao government, with assistance from friendly countries, international organizations, including INGO, individuals, have provided emergency relief to the affected people, such as provision of temporary shelters, food, and health care. May I therefore take this opportunity to express our heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to the friendly countries and international organizations for their valuable assistance provided to us during this difficult time. Against this backdrop, it is more crucial than ever for the world leaders to honor our commitment pledged in the Paris Agreement. Within ASEAN, great importance is given to the issue of climate change and disaster risk management. We also highly value the UN continued support for ASEAN-UN Joint Strategic Plan of Action on Disaster Management 2016-2020, addressing the climate change and disaster management, thus responding to its impact on socio-economic development in the years to come. Madam President, to address the scourge of transnational crime, it requires concerted effort at all levels. In this context, the Lao PDR remains highly committed to working closely with the international community in the fight against illicit drugs, illegal wildlife trade, trafficking in person, among others. The government has adopted a Drug Control Master Plan 2016-2020 as we implement the ASEAN Work Plan on Securing Community Against Illicit Drug 2016-2025, so as to realize the vision of drug-free ASEAN as one of high priority agenda of the region. We are also pleased to support the global call for action on the world drug problem initiated by the President of the United States. In our fight against human trafficking, the Lao government has spared no effort in combating this heinous and inhumane crime by adopting several laws, regulations, and national action plans to combat trafficking in persons, and becoming signatory to numerous regional agreements and MOU, including the ASEAN Convention Against Trafficking in Persons, especially women and children, that seeks to prevent and combat human trafficking. Madam President, the United Nations needs to be strengthened so it can respond effectively to the challenges we face today. We are pleased with the initiatives by the Secretary General of the United Nations on reforming and repositioning of the UN with an aim to improve UN capacity to meet the needs in the current environment. In this context, we reiterated our view that development issues must remain at the core, be an integral part and a top priority for the United Nations and member states while promoting international peace, security, and human rights. While emphasizing the importance of enhancing capacity of the United Nations system to deliver its mandate, we are concerned about the continued decline of the contribution to the core funding of the United Nations development agencies and development program on the ground. Therefore, my delegation would like to once again call on donor countries and development partners to fulfill their ODA commitment of at least 0.7% of their GNI. Madam President, we all acknowledge that peace and security are prerequisites for socio-economic development of all nations. Therefore, we need to maintain and promote peace and security at all costs. Past experience have shown that settling disputes by peaceful means is the best way to ensure durable peace that is essential for sustainable development of a nation. As such, it is incumbent upon the international community to further build mutual trust and confidence in an effort to jointly overcome the ongoing challenges and seek peaceful solutions to the disputes or conflicts that we are witnessing in various regions of the world. Against this backdrop, we welcome the recent historic summit between the leaders of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the United States of America in June this year, which constitute an important milestone in the relations between the two countries. We also welcome the third summit between the leaders of the Republic of Korea and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea with an objective to improve not only bilateral relations between the two countries, but also to address the issue of denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula. We hope that such positive momentum will be strengthened, thereby contributing to the maintenance of peace, stability, and denuclearizations in the region as a whole. While there is a positive development in the Korean Peninsula, my delegation is of concern on the lack of progress on the Palestinian issue. We hope that this long overdue issue on Palestine will be resolved by peaceful means in order to achieve a two-state solution where Palestine and Israel can live side by side in peace, security, and within internationally recognized border as stipulated in the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. On the other note, in the era of interdependence, international cooperation and engagement are key factors for peaceful and mutually benefit coexistence. The enforcement of isolation and sanctions measures imposed on any country may not bring about benefits to international community. On the contrary, it will cause a loss for all and lead to increasing hostility. In this regard, my delegation urges that the embargo on the Republic of Cuba be ended. We would like also to call on international community to uphold and further strengthen multilateralism that will promote cooperation rather than confrontation. This remains one of the core values of our only universal organization like United Nations. Madam President, I would like to conclude by expressing my support to the theme of the 73rd session of the UNGA, making the United Nations relevant to all people, global leadership, and shares responsibility for peaceful, equitable, and sustainable society. It is indeed pertinent to the current global situation and the work of the United Nations. However, to make all of the international agreed development goal and commitment a reality, it requires strong political will and firm commitment and support for multilateralism, particularly to make the United Nations stronger than before, so that it can effectively serve and respond to the needs of all member states. Thank you very much for your attention.
I thank the Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Lao People's Democratic Republic for his statement.